now pause to allow our provincial stations to identify themselves.
Mr. C, you got some issues with this guy. Last time I saw him, you guys interact. That was not in the best minutes. They're coming up here. They're coming up to the elevated area. Hey, I don't want to be anywhere near this maniac. This is not good. This is not good for Mark D.
Forgot that.
Oh, this is seriously he's failing. He's got a table set up at the bottom steps there. Wait, Mark Manalo fighting back. Wow, they're right in front of us here. Oh no! No! He's ready for the no! From the stage of I Auditorium. Wait, it's a spear! It's a spear on the table! Oh my god! The table, you know that hurt both
I was
of you.
actually
Wincing in pain!
Question is, where the bloody hell did I actually see?
The apocalypse! Not good. You know that hurt both Mark D.
Quite a long time.
Look at the table, that thing is bent. It's tangled.
Oh! This is the brutal one. Rolando Alejandro Zamora. I'm currently watching former PWR star Martin Manalo, and this is one of his, wow, the best but also quite brutal match he ever experienced in his career. And speaking of Martin Manalo,
not at all.
he's gonna go one-on-one with the brutal one. Still numero uno.
And people are cheering for PWR.
Well, without further ado, after this, we're gonna have a lot of chit-chat to do. So, cameraman.
Oh my god! That was a sickening thud. Did you hear that?
Destroyed the bits after whacking the monster. And yes, whacking the monster.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Martin Manalo had wrestled in PWR beginning in 2014 of December at the
Wait a minute.
yeah, the Terminus. PW Terminus.
No, can't be. He should have written that.
And then, well, his career is absolutely interesting too. Ups and downs, and they had to take a bit of a hiatus to the point that he's semi-retired, but I'm not so sure. But injuries definitely caught up with him. But it doesn't matter. For the very first time, we're gonna talk about Martin Manalo's career, in-ring career, from his first match on PWR on Terminus 2014 until the last one at apparently Renaissance 2016, if I'm not mistaken. Without further ado, cameraman, Martin Manalo goes one-on-one with the brutal man. The brutal one. That was the line used by my wife, the brutal man, because of, I'm not gonna go with that one, that's a bit of a confidential thing between me and her, so, cameraman, let's go to the other side, shall we?
The match is finally in the ring, for the first time.
Good evening to all the viewers in here, this is the brutal one, Rolando Alejandro Zamora, here, on one-on-one with the brutal one, and someone wants to go one-on-one with me, and his name is Mark D. Manalo. Okay, if you don't know who he is, papaliwanag ko sa inyo ito ng mabuti. He's one of the guys from Philippine Wrestling Revolution, used to be, and then from what I know, he's from the batch 2 of the guys. That also includes former PWR stars like John Sebastian, and then si Sandata, who else? That is Chris Peter Versosa, of course. And then we have Rob Mabayashi, who's still with the company to this day. And yes, si Joe Bax. Sino pa? Oh yeah, Miguel Rosales. And then for what I know, I think si Crystal naging sa batch 2 ba yun? O batch 3?
So yun. Ito siya originally.
Yeah, and the same goes to Mark, Walking Dead, Mike Madrigal, tama ba ako?
Yes. Si Mike.
Yeah, yes. Now, let's get on to this. So, Mr. Mark D. Manalo, I mean, it's been quite a while. Musta ka na? I mean, taga saan ka ba talaga? Sa Cavite o Batangas?
probinsya yung Batangas. No, it's not lang. Okay? But I live here in Taguig, sa Taguig. Pero yung the kayfabe place is in Batangas. So that's it.
Yes,
So
yes. So, ngayon, musta ka na? Tagal na, since naghinto ka na sa wrestling kung posible. But I can see that's retirement, you know?
yeah, currently na, I stay after I stayed away or from the business, I pursued education. So then eventually naging teacher ako for around a year. Then this pandemic came in and I'm back in the BPO industry, and that's what has been up with me for these past couple of years since I was away. So yeah, but
Okay.
I finished my degree, so that's nothing to be embarrassed about. It's something that I've been proud of actually. So yeah, um, guys, stayed low. Um, yeah, so that's most of the things that I've been in during my absence.
Okay. Ako naman, siguro alam mo naman na settled down na ako, hindi ba ako nakakamali? Nabalita mo na yun.
Yeah, congrats. Haven't
Yeah, that was last year. Pero, balak namin sana mag-honeymoon, pero COVID-19 eh. Hindi lang COVID-19, taal pa. Naka-leche tayong lahat dahil sa COVID-19 na yan. Sus Mario Joseph, kung naging isang entity lang siya sa harapan ko, alam mo nang gagawin ko? Uupakan ko. Papakita ko sa'yo, hindi ako self-immersive pagdating sa mga bagay na yan. Anyway, so, let's cut to the chase. Nagsisimula tayo before yung career mo sa professional wrestling. Kailan ka nagsimula mag-note ng kahit isang professional wrestling match?
I believe yung unang SmackDown na ata na napanood ko sa, I forgot kung anong channel. Solar ata yun.
SmackDown, 2002 ba yun? O around
Raw.
2000?
Raw pala to. Raw. Um, Raw pala to. Evolution na nun.
Yes, the Evolution era, 2003, 2004. And
Um,
then, yeah, umabot yun ng
AKA Reign of
2005.
Terror.
Mm.
Yeah.
Eventually,
Pero,
mm,
yeah, nahook din ako dun sa ruthless aggression nung nanonood na ako. Kasi ang labo ng mga replays nun, may part na yung replay ng Attitude Era, tapos may replay din ng ruthless aggression, tapos yun, may evolution. So, labo-labo. Pero nahook talaga ako sa wrestling since then. Tapos paborito pa nga yun sina Eddie, Ray, and nung sa Raw dati, ang weird pero paborito ko si Scott Steiner doon.
si Big
Yeah.
Papa Pop. Okay bibigay kita ng a little bit na history lesson with Scott Steiner. Alam mo naman matagal na siya sa professional wrestling business, di ba? Hindi ba ako nakakamali?
Yeah, of course.
Alam mo
One
ba,
of the best.
bago siya nagtrabaho sa WWE, alam mo naman saan siya, di ba? He
Yeah,
and his brother,
the-
si Rick Steiner, yung Dogface Gremlin,
That
WCW.
Actually, yeah. Nung naging mulat na ako dun sa wrestling, syempre may internet access na, di ba? You definitely have to look into the business in general, yung ano ba yung origins nila, simula nung, not to the extent of being a know-it-all, but to the point where you will see yourself as um, somewhat knowledgeable. And the Steiner brothers, one of the best tag teams that I've seen, with Scott Steiner. Without Scott Steiner, may Hurricane Rana pa. Yeah,
Yung Frankensteiner, alam mo yun, yung pangtapos niya, di ba? Matagal na naman pala na
Frankensteiner.
gamit niya yan. And then,
Yeah, I mean,
pumunta yan sa
well,
WWE. Sikat yun sila, naging tag team champions pa nga. Yung sa pagkakaalam ko, natalo yung belt sila from this tag team called the Quebecers, which include the Mountie. Meron akong 1993 na WWE magazine dyan. Doon yung mga story doon. And yeah, yung manager ng mga the Quebecers na yan, yung nakasuot ng pang hockey yung uniform niya, Johnny Polo. Pero sinisigurado ko na siya kung kilala mo na kung sino si Johnny Polo sa bandang huli. Una siya
um,
nag-work sa WCW bago sa WWE. And then, sa ECW, siguro kilala mo naman sa pangalan niya, diba? Yung masikat niyang inner name.
Raven? Raven.
Tama ka nga. Inobserbahan ko man siya na mabuti. Yung pagmumukha niya. At doon, talaga si Raven nga, yung Johnny Polo character na yan. Pero, sa pagkaalam ko, I think nag-wrestling siya sa WCW before. Key evidences na napanood ko yung isa sa mga Clash of the Champions na palabas sila sa WWE Network. Way back mga early 90s. Way before he signed with WWE and worked as the manager, Johnny Polo. Bringing the hockey stick, of course. That's bullcrap. Pero it worked in a short
Pero,
period of time.
ay, oo, ang naalala ko sa mga hockey, yung Team Canada sa TNA dati.
Team Canada. Pero pagdating sa Team Canada,
Sila Scott D'Amore,
it
yung
reminded
Robert
me of
Lee.
Lance Storm and WCW at that time. Ang lupit. He's one of the best at the time, Lance Storm. So let's get on with your yung pagpasok ng yung professional wrestling business in terms of Philippine Wrestling Revolution. So let's get it on with that part. How would you put it this way? Paano mo nalaman yung existence ng PWR? At ano nag-motivate sa iyo na sumali ka sa bootcamp? Alam mo, anong storya mo dyan, kung posible?
I mean, just like most of the guys, YouTube talaga. The presence of YouTube. Tapos na-curious na ako, Pinoy Wrestling. I-search ko nga. Nakita ko. Nakita ko yung sina na JDL, sina Bombay. Interesting. Sabi ko, tapos nasa boxing race. Sabi ko, ayos to, may ganito pala dito. Parang kasi nung pagbata ka, tapos nung bata ka, di ba, wrestling ring mo lang yung higaan niya. Tapos naisip ko, buti pa sila, no, nakakapag-wrestling. Tapos hinanap ko yung page sa Facebook. Then, there, nakita ko na meron silang bootcamp. Then, nag-message ako na one of the things is part ng requirement nila is to create a promo on why you should be the next PWR superstar. Not a PWR champion, but a PWR superstar. Tapos naalala ko, tawa daw sila tawa dun sa video ko kasi parang nakahiga ata ako nun. Tapos vertical yung video. Pag naalala ko, ang cringy, pero that's how passionate I was. Despite of hindi naman kami well off tulad ng iba. Like that. So, yeah. Those were, that is how I started. And the rest is, you may see this day.
Mm-hmm. Okay, yung nag-join ka na sa bootcamp, saan una ka na-training? Huwag mo sabihin sa AFP gym, o diretso na sa Fit Plus?
Sa Fit Plus na yun, sa Bombay Suarez Memorial.
No, Bombay Suarez Performance Center, if I'm not mistaken. Pero wala lang Fit Plus, alam mo na yun. Sarado na sa visit na COVID-19.
Kasi naka-follow ako sa Facebook page nila, tapos nakita ko, wala na, tapos nagbibenta na sila ng mga gamit. Nakita ko lang din sa newsfeed ko na parang may binili yung one of the guys, si Mike ata yun, may binili barbell sets. I don't know kung anong gym equipment yun. So, nakita ko, sarado na Fit Plus.
Dami mo naman magandang alala, no?
You can say that more or less.
Yeah. So, yung pag-turn mo sa ring na yan, can you kindly describe mo yung yung wrestling ring nila? I mean, boxing ring actually.
The ring in itself, actually nakapag practice kami sa AFP gym one time and that was hell. Sumakit yung likod ko ng mga 3 weeks nun.
Ay, nako.
Compared dun sa Fit Plus, sobrang comfy. Pero masakit pa rin sa likod.
Hmm.
And, but the ropes, never run on the ropes too much or else ang dami na namin nakita accident dahil doon. But not
Yeah.
entirely disclose.
Kilala mo ba yung gumanap na nina si Nicholas, right? Have you ever witnessed her na she got injured during training on one particular point?
Sino?
Si Nina.
Yeah. Hina. Yeah, I know her.
Yeah, pero
I,
did you manage to witness her paano siya na-injured, diba? Regarding yung collarbone injury
yeah,
niya that
injury
required.
yung shoulder niya. And,
Paano
I was
nangyari? Paano
laughing.
siya nabaksak?
I cannot really recall, pero it was one move at na then all of a sudden nag-separate yung shoulders na. Then I cannot really recall. It
Hmm. Uh,
was a long time ago. Pero biglang sumakit yung ulo. Naalala ko, baka concussion na yun. So, sobrang scary. Ang dami, may mga dumugo pa dati.
may mga yung
So, ganun kalala.
nauna pa sa amin ng batch 6 o batch 5 na naduguan yung during yung training. That was
Yeah,
brutal, huh?
sa batch 2, sobrang intense kasi yung batch namin. Kaya, yeah, daming, alam mo yun, yung adrenaline nagpapump sa'yo kasi first time mo nakikita mo na yung sarili, nabivisualize mo na ay, ganito mangyayari. Tapos,
Yeah.
it's not what you expected, tapos biglang, boom, nakikita mo na may na sa floor, then dumudugo yung may putok na yung kilay or whatnot.
Oh, wow.
It was
Pero kuto kung
really
malalim yung sugat,
disturbing.
Kuto kung
Malalim in a sense na may tahi na naganap eh.
ouch.
So, natid pa namin sa hospital yun.
Okay. Now,
Grabe.
let's talk about batch 2. We all know na kabatch mo yung ilan sa mga dating PWR stars. From the first ever Triple Crown champion si your wrestling lord and savior Just Sebastian, who you worked with before, and then we had Dual Shock that includes si Sandata at si Peter Versosa of all people. Siguro nabalitaan mo na yung controversy na yan kina Crystal. I mean, na-discover mo ata sa Twitter, di ba?
Yeah.
Tapos, sino pa yung mga kabatch mo? Fighters for Hire, Joey Bax and si Miguel Rosales. And then, sino pa? Crystal's part of 2. Who else? Mike Madrigal. And most importantly, the longest reigning PWR champion in history, si Ralph Imabayashi. Or we should call him Imabayashi for short. Damn you, baby muscles. Yeah. Baby muscles. Kulang na lang isang galon ng baby bottle. Doesn't matter. But then Baby Muscles is one of my favorites too. One of the best technical wrestlers in this Philippine wrestling industry, if possible.
Completely agree sa that. So,
sinisigurado ko sa inyo kung sino gusto niyong kalabanin si Baby Muscles, good luck na lang sa buhay dahil isang pagkakamali. So, sa mga kabatch mo, sino yung pinaka-close, yung naging mabuti mong kaibigan sa tunay na buhay, inside and outside of the ring?
Equally dun sa batch namin, I did not see anyone na hindi ko magiging ka-close. In a way, unique yung mga relationship ko with them. With,
Mm.
with Ralph, with Basti, Peter, Crystal, Mike, Naro. But I could say that um, closest I've with that I have been is with Crystal. Kasi even when I left with PWR, siya yung pinakumukontak sa akin na, uy, don't give up, you should come back, practice ka ulit. Something like that. Um, it really is an inspiring thing for me how she fought throughout yung adversity ng experience niya. As you may already know how hard it was for her and for a lot of female wrestlers in general. Especially with the times na yun nga, may maraming bad events nangyari sa buhay nila.
Mm-hmm.
And as everyone else is having this adversity din sa buhay nila, I'm really grateful for what she did for me. Tried to convince me to come back, although the mind and the heart says na, no, tama na. Okay na yung you support them, you root for them. For me, that's fine with me. I'm incontent with what I accomplished. Kahit walang championships, I put over a lot of people. I cannot, I can say na wala silang, um, they cannot say something that I did not put anyone over. I'm happy that I was able to lift up people who really deserve it in the first place. No? I really had a good time with them, and yeah, that's how appreciative I was with this whole stint that I had, especially with Backstreet. And apart from Crystal, siguro si Migs, one Migs is definitely a badass and a nice guy at the same time. Um, nung, yung last appearance ko, yung Revo X, where he was retired, yung nag-retired na siya, was really sad for him that he had to go. But he had made his choice, and we're really rooting for him too.
Mm-hmm. Now, let's go to the next part. Alam ko yung mga PW or I mean yung mga OGs ng Philippine Wrestling Revolution. I'm talking about the Senorito Jack De Leon, Classico Brandillo. We're talking about Cantotero. That's one. And yeah, Main Max, si Chris Spencer, si Ken Warren, The Apocalypse, among others. Mayhem Brannigan. I mean, they managed to train you guys, right?
Yeah.
And don't forget Bombay Suarez, ha? Kasama na yun, ha? So he's
Yes,
the
of
head
course.
trainer. He knows every shit possible. So what do you learn from the OGs of PWR, the ones that started it all?
Um, I've learned a lot from them. Siguro with I learned the basics, yung fundamentals, and to I've learned that everything with the essence of hard work talagang ma-achieve mo. And it really inspired me how they started this from the ground up with barely nothing yung sa pagtitrain ni Bombay and how he was able to come up with that yung mga compilations of CDs na inacquire niya just to learn from the backyard before mabigay sa amin was really helpful on giving us a ground. So I'm really grateful for the OGs for doing it. Um, to that. Also, what is else there to say about them? They have been fundamental to the success of what PWR is today. Sure, there are some unfortunate incidents that may have caused it to almost collapse.
Oh yeah, we all know the story behind it, and from a certain first worlder, of course, we'll talk about that later on.
Yeah,
Lalo na
and
yung talagang pinakamatindi na na-mention mo muntik na ikinasara ng PWR, 'di ba? Dahil financial financial disaster, you know. It has stemming from, let me see, mismanagement, that's for one. And yes, Tibatanes, on which sa pagkakalam ko na doon ka, 'di ba? Hindi ako nakakamali.
yes,
Alright, more on that
yes.
later on, kids. We're gonna do chronological order in here. I swallow my candy, darn it. Enough of that. Now, let's talk about your debut. Debut nun sa PWR, yung 2014 Terminus, the first event ever, where you joined forces with Cantotero, which I believe that he's one of your good friends, not only inside the ring but also outside, you know, real life. And then as you two take on main match in a handicap match. So, ano yung ma-recall mo sa match na to? Ano yung story dyan?
Um, yeah, ang galing ni Max. Ang galing ni Max and how he carried both of us. As you may all well know, I'm not the best of. I know that, and Katie's no different either. I'm not burying the guy, and I know he understands his place, and he knows his capabilities. Right? But Max is on a different level. Right? How were you able to carry us with such finesse? And yung come to to consider how neophytes we all are in general, was able to they're able to create a match that is not really a five-star Dave Meltzer quality, and we all know that, but it made the fans laugh. It made it made it made the fans like just rooting for the faces. And I mean, they did not boo on Max. I did not recall, but they were amazed on how he destroyed us. Basically,
Alam mo, sana dapat
and the,
na-discover ko ito nung maaga. Kung gaano kalupit si Main Max during the early years ng PWR. I just discovered PWR mga
yeah,
2015. You know that already.
that dati nung nagte-training kami, there were big guys, big boys with us. And ako, I personally don't know how to flip bump back then. Like, so, yung iikot, sobrang hirap nun for me with the injury that I have before I enter. So, may knee injury na ako at that time. Takot na takot akong tumalon. And then, Max came in, just flip bump like it's nobody else's business, and went outside the window. What? How? And doon pa lang, I know that he's gonna carry us nung, when I was called up dun sa main roster to to be KT's partner, to be Ace's partner, yeah. And the, that debut really changed my perspective on how this business works. It takes two to tango, but if you are with a wrestler of such good caliber, everything will be fine for as long as you cooperate. Yeah,
Alright.
amazing. I love that debut. And I could not um, exchange that for anything else in the world, to be honest.
Mhm. Okay, let's talk about yung gimmick mo, si Mark Di Manalo, for example, ah. Mm, whose idea became about this probinsyano joined forces with Canto Terror, isang basagulerong lasenggo, the result, beer promdi. I mean,
Um,
una mo na yung gimmick ng character mo, sino may pakana yan sa simula?
it was initially my idea kasi part of our training was to create our character. Parang SmackDown versus Raw lang, no? Create a superstar, kumbaga, no? Then we compose our promo, we pull it out dun sa in front of Owell, who was the booker at that time. He who shall not be named.
Come on,
That's
mention
one
his
of the
name. Para matapos na lahat to for the sake of it. I mean, anong meron kina CBL, ST Yusuf Mir in
yeah,
real life?
CBL and JD Bombay. Most of the seniors in PWR. Then they were impressed with how I delivered it. They were rolling on the floor laughing, to say the least. And they came up with an idea. Kasi back then, yung supposed partner ni KT, who was B. Nelson Jr., suddenly suddenly left, right? Then they were was supposed to be a two on one handicap match between them against Max. And there, Owen had an idea to include me, to call me up sa main roster to fill in dun sa spot na yan, sa spot ni Nelson Jr. And without hesitation, I said, yeah, sure. What should I do? What should just take the bump for the guy? Why not? That is the character, Mark Di Manalo. He was supposed to be a jobber, and he's not a guy who will win, but he will try to win your hearts. Ganun yung gusto kong ano din sa character niya. That's how I visualized it. More of an inspiration from, you can say, Brooklyn Brother to Santino Morella, or Eric Young. Yeah, Eric Young yung pinaka-foundation ng ng character ko. He was an scrappy underdog guy who went against all odds but still keeps on losing, right? Yung early days na Eric Young, rather, yung post Team Canada Eric Young, ganun. Ganun yung how I visualize it.
That's the story. And then, describe mo yung partnership ni Canto Terror through yung buong career mo, kung posible.
It was fun, but at the same time, nakaka-stress minsan.
Okay?
Yeah, because I know he already knows it, but limited siya. Limited yung mobility niya, and so am I. So we are not. I know we're not the best in ring, but we compensate for the characters that we have. And so if you would notice, parang kamihan most of the match sa akin yung beat down. I take a lot of bumps, but I'm fine with it. And sometimes other teams who we work with find it hard then, because it takes two to tango nga, di ba? When you're in that ring. And it takes two tag teams to create an exceptionally good tag team match. There were some times that he would choose to not take this move for a particular reason. I don't know what, and it causes rip sometimes. nagkakaroon ng conflict between them, and what we what I do is to say, hey man, don't mind it, ako na magte-take, ako na, I'll take it. So yeah, but all in all, he was a good friend and was a pure person, to be honest with you. He's not perfect as we all are, but he is a good one. I had fun with him for the most part. Yeah.
Cheers to Canto Terror. He's one of the
Cheers
few of
to
the people nagsimula yung buong professional wrestling scene dito sa Pilipinas alongside Frankie 13, of course. Now let's get on with the tag team battles. I'm talking about the original tag teams in Philippine Wrestling Revolution. I'm talking about Beer Promdi. I'm talking about Fighters for Hire. And sure as hell I'm talking about Dual Shock. So you faced
yeah.
Dual Shock for the first time ever. Vendetta 2015. Yes, the old Makati Cinema Square Arena. So, what it's like to
Classic.
work with Sandata and the already disgraced Peter Bersosa? I mean, yung sa match na to. You got some story to tell?
Ayun na nga. Yun na yung sinasabi ko. So, um, ewa, sobrang messed up and how we were. But the match in itself, if you would consider that time, during that time, that's all good. But Peter did not like how it went kasi siya yung he took he took the fall, and yung sa mga moves na gusto niyang i-take sa amin, ayaw ko ni Katie due to rest, and I cannot really blame him completely. Baka natatakot, I don't know what's on his mind, but yeah, I just had to say, ako na, I'll take it. I'll take your moves. It's get done with it. The only regret I had is the finish. Yung finish lang talaga yung it was lackluster for me. Not because of the guy taking the fall, but it's on me. I should have uh, I should have thought of a much better finish than what it is. But the debut in itself, it benefited more on us rather than DualShock, which is a sad case because both of them, regardless of how you think about Peter, those are two athletic guys that should have been pushed more at that time.
Maganda sana pero yung sa part ng storyline na split up sila sa no PWR Renaissance kung hindi ako nakakamali. Yeah, right. Now, let's get it on to Revolution X, the first one. Yung 2015 edition, the very first one. You and Canto Terror versus Fighters for Hire and now Dual Shock. Ooh la la. So, describe the triple threat tag team match. What's your story behind it? Medyo curious ako. Alam mo naman na wala pa akong niyan at the time.
So nagsimula yun kasi after nung match namin ng Dual Shock asked to have another match. Then Fighters for Hire came in, right? Then Fighters for Hire squashed them. Like, squash. Parang sobrang saglit lang ng match na yun. And that's how it came up. Three tag teams facing one another in an elimination tag team match. So that's how it came upon.
Ayan, elimination tag team
Ganun-
match pala din. Yeah.
Yeah, elimination tag team match.
Fighters for Hire yung una natanggal. Pero, yes, the storyline was part yung nauna sila natanggal. Biglang naghuramentado yung parehas. Throwing chairs, everything. I mean, do you see them na they take this storyline seriously? Parang talagang nagiging aggressively violent sila To the point na yung sa behavior nila na-fired sila ni Mr. C in his character as nila yung mga tauhan niya. Di ba ako nakakamali, di ba?
Yeah.
And then, yeah.
Those two, Migs in particular, they, they took their characters to the heart. And that's what I liked about them. As- and that was one of my favorite matches, to be honest. So,
Mm.
and how it went was the way that I visualized it. Yeah. So it all turned out to be a good match, and I'm really proud of it.
Okay. We all know nanalo yung beer prompty over those two, right? I mean, Duvosha was the last to be eliminated, making you guys win. This is your first of the biggest wins in your career. Hindi ba ako nakakamali?
Yeah, it was one
Mm.
of the biggest wins that I had. I
Now,
mean,
yes.
sobrang konti lang naman ang wins ko, pero
You should
that
be
was.
proud.
But if you go over with my top three matches, that goes on the top, definitely.
Sige, magpunta na tayo sa pinakaunang edition ng PWR Live. Interesting story. Alam mo naman na unang beses ko umattend ng PWR show dyan. Di ba ako nakakamali kung naalala mo pa. Actually, hindi ko alam kung may retrato ako muna sa'yo, But, hanapin ko na yung commit time. Maybe right after this recordings, show, whatsoever. You against the Apocalypse. So, how did it came? I mean, curious lang ako. You working with another or OG sa PWR, si Apocalypse.
At that time, I saw that nung nalaman ko yun, it was initially a boot camp challenge, right? Tapos, he took out, shockingly, one half of the YOLO twins. I don't know if you're shocked anymore. Um, so yeah, how did I find it out? Kami yung nagbo-book at that time. If I recall it, nasa booking team na rin ako nun. And we wanted Apocalypse to have that dominant and much meaner streak than what he currently have. Kasi galing lang siya sa loss nun kay Max at that time, if I can recall. Tama ba?
Wait,
I
Main
can't
Max versus
really...
Apocalypse, di ba sa Revolution X? Alam ko na
Yeah.
natalo si Main Max yun na injured. I'm not so sure kung storyline injured or legit na injured,
Yeah. See, sobrang labo na ng memory ko sa... yeah. Pero we wanted him to dominate talaga and to be one of the top heels or top monsters sa roster.
Yeah, the original monster
Eventually,
of the Apocalypse.
and what would be the best way to make a heel be hated more by the fans by him just simply torturing one of the most over guys in the roster and his sympathetic sidekick, right? So yun yung naisip namin. That's how we visualize it. Nung kinouch ni Apok yung mata ni, it was grueling.
Yeah,
And
yung storyline, hindi ko makakalimutan. I watch it. I mean, diba may beer drinking contest ata from Katoter, biglang dumating si Apocalypse and then he did something horrible. And then, shit! Blood! Dugo! Pula! La 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 la! Pag ako nakikita ng pula, talagang I was like that. I did something like that way back like I was younger, Maybe when you were not a toddler anymore, I believe. Pula. Fuck. Okay, so that storyline will be the prime catalyst of the MDM Apocalypse feud, on which medyo you had such a violent reactions over yung skit mo kay Mr. C. I still haven't forgot that one. That was on PWR live yun, 'di ba? Yung part na to. The
Yeah,
sort of injustice and everything, and then Mr. C kinda chastise you for doing nothing. Ano nagawa mo? Like that, and everything, and everything. You just, yung character mo, lets his emotions get the best of him. And then, umabot na tayo sa Renaissance 2015. But before it all happened, you face the man who become James Idol Martinez in a pre-show match. This happens to be
yeah.
yes, one of the few pre-show match ever contested sa PW at the time. Renaissance, yes, the very first ones perhaps. So describe about your first work with the man who would eventually became Idol.
Terrific seller, terrific worker. Um, lahat nung at that time, sabi ko, gawin natin to. Gawin mo to sa akin. Gawin. And what I initially was on my mind is to, kahit pre-show lang to, I make, I want to make this guy look like $1 million or something with the best that I can. It's
And
ganun
it
lang yung
worked.
mindset ko whenever I have a match. I don't care what people would think about me. Um, I basically wanted to put over people more than to put myself over. Di yun sa pagmamayabang. That's how I like to work. I work better with me making other people shine than people making me shine. 'Cause that's how the character grows with, kasi if I would just base it doon sa wins and losses, I'm nothing. But that's not what wrestling is all about. Hindi naman siya tulad ng NBA or any particular sport that your records matter. In pro wrestling, I believe that your impact in your character has a um, more essence or more impact than what you how many championships you accomplish. Yeah, if you could that's why people still remember Mick Foley despite not having that much of a title reigns, right? You you know people like Rey Mysterio, bihira lang sila magka-titles, di ba? Still, they they are being remembered. I'm not saying that I'm in line with them, but I just wanted to work better that way. And that's how I worked with Jimmy back then. And sobrang nag-enjoy ako. Kaya sabi ko, nasa pre-show ako, ano yung mindset ko? Treat it like it's a main show wrestling match and make it as entertaining to hype up the people who are there early to reward them. Ay, masok kayo maaga. You're in for a treat. Yun yung gusto ko. Even though my body says that I cannot do everything, but I have a reliable partner in the ring at that time, and it worked out like magic. And I like, I love it.
Now, we're done with Renaissance 2015. But not yet. Remember, a masked individual interfered during the triple threat main event. JDL, Classical Brian Leo, Apocalypse for the PWR Championship. And the masked guy interfered the Apocalypse. And
Yeah,
thus, CBL managed to defeat JDL to retain the PWR title. And then it was later revealed na ikaw pala yung yung umatake kay Apocalypse, which would serve as a, what we call that, yung magiging storyline ng away ninyo sa PWR Terminus 2015 in a hair versus mask all-out match. But before we go there, you receive an opportunity to face Classic Abranio for the PWR title. So, whose idea is that actually? Ano yung storya mo, kung posible?
It was his idea to it was with an agreement to basically give the title, kasi pag nagkaroon ng defense, much more titles, when the title is being defended, nagkakaroon ng stability yung status ng title. So ganun yung reasoning behind it, and it was made as an open challenge back then.
What's
So
like
that's how
working
it,
with CBL for the first time ever? How would you describe in any ways?
um was good, was okay. um Sobrang sakit ng mga slaps, and wa- was somehow lumalapay siya eh. Yung sa likod, he would just out of nowhere slap you at your back, like parang tatanggal yung baga ako at that time. So yeah, overall I could say that was not was a really good match. I could say na he put me over, to be fair, and as I always do, I put him over, and made him look like he was a human torture machine, and I like it too. I like that match. Fair enough.
Okay. Pero
So,
sa lahat mga
sobrang sakit.
nakilala, sa lahat ng mga na Facebook, siya yung pinaka stiffest sa lahat. Tama ba ako?
Yes,
Totoo nga yung
absolutely.
story. Totoo nga yung story. Napaka-stiffest talaga. Even JDL would attest it. After you're facing with CBL, Apocalypse, hair versus mask. Na, sino may nag-isip ng ganitong stipulation na hair versus mask all-out war match? The first singles all-out war match in PW history. Ikaw?
I thought,
Walang iya ka ha. You have a glutton for punishment ha. And then, siguro alam mo naman na doon ako sa Terminus 2015. It's already on YouTube. I love to watch it again, all over again, maybe tomorrow. It may depends on my mood. I mean, it's one of my favorites from your respective career, man. It's one of my favorites. I mean, naalala ko, pang halos na spear mo ate si Apocalypse from the stage papunta sa table. Hindi ko makakalimutan yan.
yeah,
Sakit yun
favorito
ha!
kong spot.
Sakit! Ewan ko kung napilayan ka ba o hindi.
Yung tuhod ko, na
I
siya,
think this is
na-aggravate
one
ko.
of the reasons medyo na-agrabyado yung career dahil sa match na yun, no? Kung posible. Hindi naman.
Accumulated na rin yan. So, yeah. So,
In the end,
accumulated na yan.
mm,
Present. I love that match. I love it. I
so
love
do
it.
I, so do
To the
I.
death.
Yes, in the end, you lost to Apocalypse. He keeps the mask and then he did something na yeah, iniwan ka niya. Dapat tapos na, diba? And then shit! Si John Sebastian. Nako, dumating and then he finished the job that the Apocalypse had done. That was so embarrassing. But that would be the catalyst for a brief feud with someone who would become your wrestling Lord and Savior. And yes, PW champion, PHX champion, PW tag team champion. Okay, now let's get to business with John Sebastian. You and JDL joined forces against the Royal Flush. That's Main Max and John Sebastian, kung hindi ako nagkakamali, sa PWR Live Road to Vendetta. Describe mo yung match mo. I mean, yung story na yan, by all means. Describe the match.
Doon ako na-amaze on how good JD is. Like, and how well executed that match is. For me, one of the best tag team matches that I have had. Certainly one of my favorites. So, nakikita mo na yung top 3 ko na. May katay yung top 3, which is mamaya pa yun. You will find out on the match yun.
Yes, yeah. Okay. Yeah, sadly, the Royal Flush did win. I don't know what happened, but that would be lead to you and John Sebastian at Vendetta 2016. Naalala ko mga promos ni John Sebastian tungkol sa'yo, ah. He even stooped so low to call you a squatter Carabao. Squatter Carabao. Or Squatters Carabao, whatever. I mean, that was his idea. So what do you think yung mga promos ni John Sebastian through all these years of his PW, especially yung feud ninyo, calling you a Squatter Carabao? I mean, ano reaction mo diyan?
Sabi ko lang backstage sa kanya is, dude, just generate the heat the way that you can. I'm all for it. Go for it. Sabi niya, okay. Sabi mo, walang iyakan na. Dude, professional tayo parehas dito. So, yeah. Him doing the things that he do to make the crowd hate him. Outstanding, to say the least.
Oh, okay. This promos leads to PW Vendetta 2016. Yeah, you versus John Sebastian. Describe yung match mo sa kanya and what it's like to work with someone who is also one of the very popular heels in PW history.
Ang daling mag-generate ng heat sa crowd ang daling mag-generate ng sympathy pag si John Sebastian yung kalaban mo. Parang kahit wala kang gawin, the crowd instantly hates him. And I don't know what's it. Maybe yung aura, yung presence, and basically, if I remember, wala akong masyadong ginawa na. I just wanted to put him over, then get it done with. Yeah. Galing mag-generate ng heat.
Pero okay makipagtrabaho si John Sebastian in all accounts. Probably more so than CBL if possible. O perhaps lang.
Come again?
Okay ba makipagtrabaho kay John Sebastian as in compared to CBL o parehas lang?
Mas okay kay Basti, to be honest. Yung tolerable yung stiffness. Napapakiusapan mo na, hey, take it light. Sakit. Pero kay CBL, no disregard. Wala ka.
Yan yung mga parts ng negative attributes na hindi mo nagusto sa kanya at first place, if such.
Kanina.
Kay CBL. I mean, yan yung isa sa mga a bit of a negative attributes from him na hindi mo nagustuhan.
Yeah, part of it. And yung ego, sobrang laki.
Ego during yung character or in real life?
Both.
Ouch. Yeah. Pero now, after you deal with this one, let me see. Punta na tayo sa Manila Madness. Beer Promdi versus Los Trabajadores. Manila Madness. I wasn't there pero narinig ko na yung mga balita na ito siguro yung one of the very few of the shittiest show that PWR has ever presented. Maraming kwento yan. Alam na natin lahat yun. And it has something to do with the member for the CPL and the organizer, which, kung hindi ako nakakamli, is Mommy Tears. Tama ba ako?
Sino?
Yung organizer ng show ng Manila Madness, that was his Mommy Dearest, right?
Yeah.
Ano mo? Diba ng PW management, kayo lang. Walang mga outside na interference, even from family members. What's got into him not only include his mom, but pati misis niya. It doesn't make sense, diba? You know that. At that
That's
time.
kind of nepotism.
Hmm?
Parang nepotism yung nagiging labas eh.
Pero sinadya ba niyo ito talaga sa CBL or what?
It's really hard to say things if you barely have an idea kung ano ba talaga yung nangyari. Because I'm just as clueless as most of the guys are regarding that, as I'm not really within the management. Ang hawak ko lang back then was booking, nothing else. I don't want to interfere with how their business structure works. Kasi all I wanted to do is to wrestle and to book
Mm.
and to develop guys in terms
Hanggang
of
doon ka
their
lang, no?
character.
Hanggang doon ka lang.
Yeah.
I understand that and I'm not gonna question about it. So, we probably win against Los Trabajadores. Ba nang gonna go too far na kung sino yung mga Los Trabajadores na dahil sa pagkakalam ko, ito na rin natin simula yung story ng mga ano to, Legion of Trabajadores ba?
Sila yung mga silang dalawa yung una. Yeah.
Yes.
Una.
The Council of Trabajadores, yes. The Council of Trabajadores. Remember that, children. Council of Trabajadores. That will lead to the Quattro Store line versus... Who is this? Yes, si Trabajador Supremo. Ay, nako. Yung part na... I-add ko muna yung part ng conversation natin, ha. Pagdating kina Trabajador Maximo, marami nagsisigaw na mushroom burger. And then... I remember na kakapunta lang namin sa Tagaytay para bayaran yung mga importanteng bayaran na hindi pa nabayaran. And then, something like that. Nag-take out kami sa order sa mushroom burger. Pero no fun talaga. Although the fries are good, spaghetti is quite decent to say the least. Wala na sila yung mga longganisa with rice and some stuff like that. Dapat nag-McDonald's.
Sarap yung mushroom fries nila dun. Ang gusto ko ulit magtagaytay.
Ako sa kana kapag ligtas ng lahat. Safe na pumunta doon. Ayaw ko muna bumalik doon. Pero mahalaga natin gawa na namin trabaho at okay na. So, I'm gonna jump over that one. Now, after Manila Madness, the Paranaque Show, yung PW Live Road to Revolution X, Joey Bax versus MTM. Now, singles match to, tama ba o pre-show match?
Singles match siya. Yeah.
So, what is...
match.
Okay. Matangkad ka pa kay Joey Bax, diba? So, what's like working with Joey Bax in singles contest at that time?
Yeah.
Anong fun memories mo?
Yes.
Ano yung mga fun memories mo dyan?
Ka kanina. Sorry.
Si Joey Bax.
Dude. Parang, di ko alam kung pwede ko sabihin pero I remember yung time na di ko alam kung pwede ko sabihin. May parang nagkaroon sila ng argument ni Peter that time regarding their movesets and all. Then eventually nagkaroon ng shoot fight, parang ganun, sa loob ng Fit Plus.
Shoot fight? As in, totoong away?
Parang, isipin na natin na they just squared up like two men and pumasok sila dun sa loob ng ring Tapos kami mga tarantado sa gilid, no? Udyok-udyok lang kami. Tapos they went for like an MMA rules kind of thing. Tapos he took Peter down. Kasi judo kasi ano si Joey.
Legit.
So legit, legit. Legit may ano siya eh. He has a belt to come with it. So and then I saw him taking Peter down. I was like, what? Okay. And yeah, di kami masyadong close si Joey, pero I always had connections with them in such ways. So the fun between the fighters for hire, mas may fun memories ako with Miguel, with Migs, than Joey. But Joey's a nice person. Sometimes he cannot be tolerated by other guys
For
for
what
some
reason?
reason. But
What?
on how kasi nung when nagsisimula pa lang kami, syempre merong risk, di ba? And syempre bilang tao, nag-iingat ka lang din na ayun, parang ayokong i-take yung move na yan, parang dangerous. Doon din nagsimula lahat ng mga away sa umpisa with
Oh,
people not trying to put over one another. Then
hindi to
miscommunication
storyline fight.
happens.
Tapang legit na to. I mean, talagang tunay na away. Ouch. That was tough
Yeah.
backstage. Tough. Well,
You weigh on it if you want to include that. But yeah, I'm just telling the truth as it is. Yun yung pinaka-fun memory ko kay Joey Bucks eh. And I saw him taking Peter out. Yeah.
oh wow, we never heard of that before. That was quite interesting. Anyway, let's jump to, let me see, Revolution X 2016. Apocalypse versus Canto Terror, all-out war match. And you were involved too to assist on the Canto Terror. Ang pinaka-fun memories ko sa inyong dalawa ni Canto Terror, yung kalaban niya si Apocalypse, beer Pyongpyang. Kumuha kayo ng beer. Tapos, kakampay kayo. Pero instead, inano niyo si, Apocalypse. Okay, describe mo yung laban ni Canto Terror kay Apocalypse as you being one of the participants. I mean, that's a competitor, but assisting your best bud. Tag team partner.
That was his best match sa PWR. That was able to put over APOC as a legitimate threat talaga. Kasi naging brutal yung laban, and I always love working with the guy, with APOC, because sobrang open niya to things. Minsan sinasabi niya, powerbomb mo ako. Sabi ko, ikaw yung monster, pa-powerbomb kita. Diba? Parang to the point na masyado siyang open sa mga moves na ibibigay sa akin. Hindi siya mapili. Hindi siya maarte kasama sa ring. That's why I love putting him over at the time.
Apocalypse wins, still undefeated at Revolution X 2016. Woo! Okay.